We get a lot of questions about wildlife in Arizona. What kind of wildlife do you have? Will I see any? Do I need to be scared? Today, I'm sharing a list of wildlife we have in Arizona and the 5 animals that I most commonly see living in North Phoenix. Hey, I'm Lindsay, a proud Anthem resident and your local realtor with the Wise Move AZ team at Realty ONE Group. If you want to stay up to date on all things Anthem and real estate, then you need to hit that subscribe button. Pro tip, you're also going to want to hit the little bell icon so that you're the first to know when our new videos are posted every single Thursday. So depending on where you're from, you may or may not be surprised to hear that Arizona is home to a ton of wildlife. Even though the desert is dry and hot, it's a happy home to many different species of animals. Before I start, I want to say a big thank you to my partner Carolynn and to the Arizona Game and Fish Department for all the amazing information that made this video possible. Even though I live here and I've seen my fair share of wildlife, I had no idea just how many different animals we have here. Seriously, it's crazy. I'll include a link to the Arizona Game and Fish Department website along with a number of other references in the description box below so you can check those out after this video. Also, in the interest of time, we'll be focusing only on mammals, which means we won't be touching on insects, spiders, birds, turtles, and reptiles. All of those could be their own video topics. There are so many. Earlier this year, we did a video on scorpions, so if you're interested in checking that out, you can click in the cards for this video. Additionally, it's important to note that Arizona is really big and it varies from mountains and deep canyons in northern Arizona to the Sonoran Desert flatlands in the south. Annual precipitation days range from approximately 70 in Flagstaff to 15 in Yuma. We won't bore you with the statistics, but suffice it to say that the wildlife that you'll find in the cooler and wetter northern regions of Arizona is completely different than what you'll find in the southern regions of Arizona. So don't be surprised if you move to Phoenix and you never see a bear. Just saying. The best way to see wildlife in Arizona is to get out in nature and go for a hike. So at the end of this video, we'll be sharing a copy of our guide, 10 tips for hiking in the Sonoran Desert, so stick around. First, let's talk about the animals we have here in Arizona. Number 1, mountain lions. You may also hear them referred to as cougars, pumas, or panthers. These majestic and scary cats can grow up to 145 pounds, but tend to be smaller in hotter climates. Thank goodness. If you live in an area where mountain lions are common, or you're planning to go hiking in an area where mountain lions are common, I strongly recommend that you read the safety instructions put out by the Arizona Game and Fish Department, and I will link to those in the description box below. Number 2, jaguars. This one totally shocked me. I had no idea we had jaguars in Arizona. Jaguars are extremely rare in the United States, and even more so in Arizona. They're endangered. That being said, there has been a reported sighting as recent as January 2019. How cool is that? Number 3, bear with me as I try to say this one, Lynx rufus or Felis rufus. What is that? Good question. That's the fancy way to say bobcat, and we definitely have our share of bobcats here in Arizona. In fact, they're the most common wildcat in Arizona. They weigh about 12 to 13 pounds and can grow to 2 to 2.5 feet in length. Number 4, ocelot. If you're having a tough day, look up baby ocelots on Google. Sadly, the ocelot is endangered. It's native to the Southwest United States, Mexico, and Central America. Number 5, bighorn sheep. Conservationists have worked really hard to preserve and grow the bighorn sheep population in Arizona, and they're doing a great job. Number 6, pronghorn. These are often referred to as antelope, and we have 3 different species here. Number 7, horse. Yep. That's right. We have wild horses here in Arizona and they are beautiful. Although I've never been, I hear that you can see them along the Salt River. Number 8, donkey. We have donkeys in Arizona, and although you may not see them very often, you're reminded that they're here by all the donkey crossing signs we have around. Number 9, coyote. If you're in Arizona, there's a good chance that you'll see or hear a coyote. The best place to spot a coyote is at the Gila River Arena during hockey season. Just kidding. In all seriousness, wild coyotes are very common here in Arizona. If you're living here with small pets, I strongly encourage you to read the recommendations put out by the Arizona Game and Fish Department so that you're aware of any health and safety risks. I'll link to that in the description box below. Number 10, Mexican wolf. Sadly, these wolves are endangered in Arizona, so it's very unlikely that you would see one in the wild. Number 11, javelina. Fun fact, even though a javelina looks a lot like a pig, it's not. Javelinas are actually part of the peccary family. It's best to watch javelina from a distance. They have very poor eyesight, and there's a chance that they could charge at you accidentally when they're trying to get away. Also, they smell really bad, so there's a chance that you could smell them before you see them. Number 12, white-tailed deer. Number 13, black bear. We actually had an incident where a bear made its way into Anthem in May of 2018, but that's very uncommon. Number 14, Coatimundi or Coatis. These are relatives of the raccoon and can be found in the Sonoran and Chihuahuan deserts. Number 15, raccoon. Number 16, ringtail. Fun fact, this is actually the state mammal. The only place I've ever seen a ringtail is on my Arizona driver's license, but I'm sure they're out there. They are related to raccoons and Coatimundi. Number 17, spotted skunk. We actually have 4 species of skunk in Arizona, including the spotted skunk, which is the only one that can climb trees. We have 3 species of fox in Arizona. Of these, the gray fox is the most common. Number 19, desert cottontail. This is the proper name for the cute little bunnies you see all over Arizona. Now, as you can see, that is a very long list and I've probably missed some. But like I said at the beginning of this video, not all of the animals are found in every part of the state. We live in Anthem, Arizona, and part of the reason that we chose Anthem is because it's a little bit closer to nature. This means that we get to see and live alongside a wider variety of wildlife than you may experience living in downtown Phoenix. So here are the 5 animals that I most often see in Anthem. Number 1, bobcats. Typically, I'll only see these if I'm out for an early morning walk, but for a while, my parents had one that frequented their yard with its babies. While I didn't always love watching the circle of life happen in front of us, the babies were really cute. Number 2, donkeys. Northwest of Anthem near Circle Mountain, there is wide open desert, and this is the best place I've been able to spot donkeys. They're not as common, but it's so fun when you get to see or hear them. I also saw donkeys when I was visiting Lake Pleasant, and if you'd like to watch our video on Lake Pleasant, you'll find that in the cards for this video. Number 3, coyotes. I may not see coyotes every day, but I probably hear them at least once a day. Our house backs onto a wash, so I'm way more likely to hear them than to see them, and we also suspect that they have a den not too far from our house. Anyways, it's not uncommon to hear them howling at night. I most often see javelina around dusk near the golf course. Also, one thing to keep in mind, javelinas seem to love pumpkins. So if you're planning to put a pumpkin out for fall or Halloween, be warned that a javelina may run away with it. Also, if you wake up and your front yard looks a little dug up near the bases of the cacti, that probably means that a javelina was having dinner in your yard. Number 5, desert cottontail. We have so many bunnies here in Arizona, you could probably drive by either golf course and see them by the hundreds on any given day. Also, watch out when you're driving because they don't always make the smartest decisions. So there you have it. What do you think? Would you prefer to live up here in Anthem, a bit closer to nature, or do you prefer the city feel? I'd love to know what kind of wildlife you've seen either in Arizona or in your own hometown, so let me know in the comments below. As I mentioned earlier, the best way to see wildlife in Arizona is by getting out for a hike. If you'd like to download a copy of our free guide, 10 Tips for Hiking in the Sonoran Desert, simply click the link in the description box below. Lastly, if you enjoyed this video, let me know by hitting that like button, subscribing to our channel, and sharing this video with your friends. See you next Thursday.